Okay, so let's dive into this feeling you sometimes get, that the things that really bother you about other people, the stuff that gets under your skin, maybe, just maybe, it says more about us than about them.
Mm.
It's a weird thought, isn't it?
It is. It's like catching a glimpse of yourself in a shop window late at night, down a dimly lit street.
Yeah.
And for a split second, you see this shadowy figure. And it feels, well, uncanny, unheimlich, as Freud might say.
Uncanny, unfamiliar, but also weirdly familiar.
Exactly. That jolt, that
Yeah.
feeling can actually be, well, a kind of gateway, a way into understanding this thing we call projection.
Projection. So like we're casting something from inside ourselves onto the outside world, like that shadowy figure.
Precisely. Freud talked about it as a defense mechanism. Our mind's trying to protect us,
Protect us from what, though?
from overwhelming feelings, usually.
Mhm.
Desires we don't want to admit to, insecurities, fears, things we just can't face internally.
So we push them out.
We push them out. We externalize them. That shadowy figure in the window, maybe it's not a real person lurking there.
Okay.
Maybe it's a manifestation of your own inner anxiety. Or maybe some part of yourself you've disowned.
Like what?
Oh, it could be anything, really.
Yeah.
Hidden aggression you don't like about yourself, maybe a forbidden desire, even a vulnerability you're ashamed of. It feels alien because you've pushed it away.
Push it away. You mean like repression? Shoving stuff down into the unconscious.
Yeah, that's the basic idea. You push these unwanted thoughts or feelings down because they're uncomfortable or unacceptable. But the thing is, they don't just vanish.
Right. They tend to pop back up, don't they?
They can, yes, often in disguised ways, symbolic forms, like that shadowy figure.
And the whole situation you described, dimly lit street ambiguity, that makes it easier to project, right?
Definitely. That uncertainty, is it real danger or is it just my imagination that creates fertile ground? It lets us take an internal threat, something we feel inside, and pin it on an external source.
Why? To avoid looking at ourselves.
It's often easier, isn't it, to deal with a perceived danger out there rather than confront something difficult within. It avoids that internal confrontation.
And sometimes those fears feel so intense. Does that connect back to, like, childhood stuff?
Very often, yes. The intensity can stem from unresolved conflicts from way back. Think about it. Maybe as a kid, expressing anger, for example, got you punished or disapproved of.
Yeah.
So you learn to repress it, shove it down. But that energy, that anger, it's still there. Later in life, it might get projected onto other people. You start seeing them as angry or threatening.
So these little moments, these encounters with our own shadows, as you called them, they're actually kind of important.
Incredibly important. They're like little windows, entry points into our unconscious. If we can pause and explore those feelings, instead of just reacting, we can learn a lot.
So the shadowy figure, it sort of blurs the line, doesn't it, between me and someone else, inside and outside, real and imagined.
It absolutely does. And by focusing all our attention on that external figure, that potential threat out there, we neatly sidestep the conflict brewing inside.
But that relief is only temporary, I guess.
Usually, yes. Because the internal issue hasn't actually been resolved. You've just put it somewhere else for a bit.
Okay. This is fascinating. So we've kind of set the stage. Let's maybe explore those origins a bit more, how these patterns actually form.
Right. Childhood is really where a lot of this groundwork is laid. It's when we're learning the ropes, emotionally speaking, how to handle feelings, how relationships work.
And you mentioned earlier, like, if certain feelings weren't okay.
Exactly. If you grew up where, say, showing sadness or fear was seen as weak, or maybe anger was just completely forbidden, you learn pretty quickly to push those feelings down, suppress them.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Well, you try, but like we said, they don't just disappear, do they?
No. Feels like they go underground.
And
they find leaks, right? Other was to come out.
That's a great way to put it. Like trying to keep a lid on a boiling pot. The pressure builds, and it has to escape somehow.
And projection is one of those escape routes.
It's a classic one. So take that person who wasn't allowed to be angry as a child. As an adult, they might constantly feel like others are angry at them.
Even when they're not.
Even in perfectly neutral situations, it's like their own disowned anger is being plastered onto everyone else they meet.
Wow. So it's the mind doing a kind of protective maneuver, but it's a bit clumsy.
You could say that. Instead of consciously feeling I am angry, which might feel dangerous or forbidden based on past experience, the thought becomes they are angry with me.
Which feels safer.
Temporarily, yes.
Yeah.
Dealing with an external angry person can feel more manageable than grappling with your own internal, perhaps frightening anger. But, the downside is
Misunderstandings, relationship problems.
all of the above. It can really strain connections if you're constantly perceiving hostility or criticism that isn't actually there.
Okay, what about those really intense reactions we sometimes have? Not just annoyance, but like really strong feelings about someone, either intense dislike or maybe even intense admiration.
Oh, absolutely. That's often deeply connected to projection, too.
How so?
Well, those really strong pulls, positive or negative, can signal that we're projecting either our ideal self, the qualities we wish we had, or the parts of ourselves we've rejected, our shadow self.
So if I really admire someone's confidence, maybe I'm projecting my own desire for confidence onto them.
That's a very common dynamic, yes.
Huh.
You see in them what you wish you possessed or felt more strongly within yourself. And conversely,
If someone just drives me absolutely crazy for no good reason I can pinpoint.
that intense irritation could very well be because they're mirroring back an aspect of yourself that you find unacceptable or have repressed, something you don't want to see.
Huh. It's like they're holding up a mirror, but we don't realize it's our own reflection.
Exactly. And seeing that reflection, especially if it's a part of ourselves we don't like or acknowledge, can be deeply uncomfortable.
Which explains the intensity of the reaction.
It certainly contributes. Our ego, our conscious sense of self, generally likes stability, a consistent story about who we are. When someone triggers a strong reaction, it can shake that story up.
Makes sense.
It forces us, potentially, to confront bits of ourselves that contradict that preferred narrative, disowned parts.
How does this show up day to day? Like, in relationships, say someone is always accusing their partner of being untrustworthy.
Could that be projection? Very possibly. The textbook example, actually.
Really?
Instead of owning up to their own feelings of insecurity, maybe their own fears about trust, or even sometimes their own impulses to be untrustworthy, it can feel much easier to point the finger.
So you accuse the partner.
You locate the problem out there in the partner. They're the untrustworthy one, not me. But this, as you can imagine, creates a really difficult cycle.
Yeah, suspicion, mistrust. Sounds exhausting.
It really can be. It undermines the very foundation of the relationship.
Okay, so it seems like the first big step is just noticing. Noticing those intense reactions, the strong judgments, the things that really push our buttons.
Noticing is crucial. And then, ideally, pausing.
Pausing before reacting.
Yes, creating even a tiny space between the trigger and your response. In that space, you can ask yourself, okay, hang on. What's really going on here? Why am I feeling so strongly about this?
Shifting the focus inward.
Exactly. Moving from what's wrong with them
Yeah.
to what's being stirred up in me. It requires, a bit of self-awareness, a willingness to look deeper.
Okay, so we've kind of dug into the what and why of projection. What happens? What happens when we start to actually recognize it? When we have that moment of, oh, maybe this is about me. That must feel significant.
It really can be. A huge aha moment, as you say. It's a fundamental shift in perspective, isn't it? From seeing the issue as purely external to acknowledging, an internal component.
Yeah. Does it feel unsettling?
It can be, definitely. A
Really?
bit destabilizing at first, but interestingly, also incredibly liberating.
Liberating. How so?
Well, think about it. If the problem is entirely out there, entirely with the other person, you're kind of stuck, aren't you? You can't really change them.
Right, you're powerless.
But if you recognize that at least part of the issue, part of your reaction, is coming from within you, suddenly you have some agency.
Because you can work on yourself.
Exactly. You have the potential to understand it,
Right.
to address it, to work through it in psychoanalytic terms.
Working through. That sounds like a process, not just a quick fix.
Oh, definitely not a quick fix. It's gradual. It often involves revisiting some of those earlier experiences we talked about, maybe those times when certain feelings got shut down.
And looking at them differently now.
Looking at them differently, processing them with your adult understanding. It takes time. It takes patience. And honestly, it often requires a willingness to sit with uncomfortable feelings.
It reminds me of like those dreams where you're being chased. And it's terrifying, but then maybe you finally turn around and you realize the thing chasing you, it's actually some part of yourself you've been running from.
That's a really powerful analogy.
Yes.
The external threat in the dream often symbolizes an internal conflict.
And turning to face it, that's the only way, even if it's scary.
It's off of the path toward resolution.
Yeah.
By confronting what we've projected, whether it's in a dream or in our waking reactions to others, we can start to bring those disowned parts back.
Integrate them.
Integrate them, leading to a more whole sense of self.
That's the goal, moving towards greater wholeness, less internal conflict.
So, okay, practically speaking, if I find myself getting really, really triggered by someone, the question isn't just, why are they like that?
No. A more potentially fruitful question might be, okay, what is being activated in me right now? What nerve is this touching?
That shift. Just asking the question differently feels like it changes everything.
It really can. It moves you from a position of, say, judgment or blame towards one of curiosity, self-discovery even. It opens up the chance to learn something important about yourself right in that moment of intensity. What about just watching the emotion? Like when that flash of irritation or anger hits, instead of instantly blaming or reacting, just notice it. Like, oh, there's anger, and see what's underneath.
That's a fantastic practice, that non-judgmental observation. It creates that vital space we talked about between the feeling and the action.
And in that space.
In that space, you can start to see patterns. What situations trigger this? What deeper feelings might be underneath the surface anger? Is it fear? Is it shame? Is it vulnerability? It lets you trace the connections.
It sounds like our projections are almost like little flares going off, signals pointing towards something inside that needs attention.
That's a beautiful way to think about it, yes. Yeah. Like ripples on the surface of a vast ocean, the unconscious. The projections are the visible signs of those deeper unseen currents and forces within us.
So paying attention to the ripples helps us understand the ocean better.
Precisely. By exploring their origins, by getting curious about why this specific thing bothers you so much in that specific person, you gain a richer understanding of your own internal landscape.
So the goal isn't really to stop projecting entirely, because it sounds pretty human.
Oh, I think it's a fundamental human process. We all do it to some extent. The goal isn't elimination, I agree. It's more about developing awareness.
Knowing when you're doing it.
Knowing when you might be doing it. And using those moments not necessarily to beat yourself up, but as opportunities for self-reflection and growth.
Taking more responsibility for our own feelings and reactions.
Exactly. When we recognize our tendency to project, we can start to respond to situations and to other people with a bit more clarity, maybe more understanding, more compassion, both for them and for ourselves.
Okay, so bringing it back, thinking about that initial idea again. What bothers us in others might just be a reflection, like that shadowy figure in the glass. It feels like maybe as we understand this more, the figure doesn't seem so separate or threatening.
Perhaps not. That initial jolt of the uncanny, that discomfort, can actually lead to really profound insight if we let it. It's like an invitation, isn't it?
An invitation to look closer.
To look beyond the surface reflection. To explore those deeper layers of ourselves. The parts that might be hidden in the shadows, disowned.
Like in the dream analogy again, the figure turns, and maybe this time you see something familiar in its eyes. You recognize a part of yourself.
That moment of recognition, it's huge. It's confronting, yes, but it's also the beginning of integration. Of bringing that part back home, so to speak.
Bringing it back into yourself.
Reclaiming those projected qualities, whether they're good or bad, and weaving them into a more complete, more authentic sense of who you are. It moves you towards greater self-acceptance.
So perhaps the next time we have one of those really strong reactions like anger, judgment, irritation, we can try to pause.
Yes.
And just ask, okay, what might this be reflecting back at me?
That internal inquiry, that willingness to turn the gaze inward with curiosity rather than just outward with blame. That's really the heart of growing self-awareness.
It's not a one-time thing, though, is it?
Oh, definitely not. It's an ongoing process, a continuous journey, really, of getting to know ourselves better layer by layer.
And it sounds like, even though it might be uncomfortable sometimes, facing those reflections, there's real value there, real potential for growth.
Absolutely. Every time we notice a projection, every time we feel intensely triggered, it's genuinely an opportunity.
An opportunity to learn.
To learn about our inner world. To potentially heal old wounds, to become maybe a little more integrated, a little more authentic. It's quite a profound journey if you choose to take it.
So imagine standing before that shop window again. The shadow is still there, maybe, but perhaps now it feels less like a stranger and more like part of your own reflection, merging together.
And what do you feel in that space, that liminal space between shadow and reflection? That's where the ongoing discovery happens.
Every shadow holds potential for light, then.
I believe so.
Yeah.
And every projection offers a path back to yourself. It's not an endpoint, this understanding, but maybe a pause. A place to continue exploring from.